Hey guys, welcome back to Universes Beyond. This is an exciting one. I've got my Cloud Precon in front of me. I've been looking at this deck for the last couple of days. I've been kind of pulling out cards that, honestly, some of the cards in this deck, I have no idea why they're in here. And there's quite a few things that I've excluded from this deck. As you can see, there's about 20 cards that I've taken out of this one. And I've got a very budget but awesome deck tech to upgrade this to make it so that you can choose to play either of these commanders. The preferred one, the most optimal, will be Cloud. However, if you want to play Tifa, the amount of cards in this deck, the amount of equipments that I'm adding in to replace pretty crap equipment that are in this deck is going to make it so you could chop and change. But I think when it comes to which commander supports which one better, well, they both do it pretty well. But straight off the shelf, I think you're going to be able to equip Cloud very easily based on its ability here. So basically, Cloud is 5 to come down, so it's quite expensive. It does have haste, meaning that he will be able to swing out on the turn that he comes down. He's a human, soldier, mercenary, and he's a 4/4 straight off the bat. When it enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. That's not to be understated. If you get some equipment down that's quite expensive to equip, it gets around it, you can equip it. Pretty sure the turn he comes down, you'll be able to get him to a 3/3. So add 3/3 to him, making him a 7/7, which then, when you get to his second ability, when he attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then if Cloud has power 7 or greater, create 2 treasure tokens. So great ramp built into it. I said this in my video the other day. The thing is those 2 treasure tokens are insane. It basically means that if you can get this off at least once, you're going to be able to mitigate the command attacks, right? So if your kind of opponents start to want to get rid of Cloud, that's fine. You've got 2 treasure tokens that mitigates your command attacks. Bring him straight back in. He's got haste. Attach up to a target equipment to it. Do it again. Keep doing it. It's just absolutely nuts. And so I have gone down this route primarily, but Tifa is so crazy as well. So Tifa is 4 to come down, so you'll be able to get Tifa in largely a turn earlier than Cloud. It's a human monk, 4/4, melee, which says whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn for each opponent you attacked this combat. Insane. Absolutely insane. So that ability can be stacked, and so if you attack more than one opponent, then well, let's put it this way. The second ability, let's get to this bit first. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat phase of your turn, there's an additional combat phase after this one. Nuts. So if you can get Tifa up to a 7/7, Cloud up to a 7/7, one other creature up to a 7/7, and they each deal combat damage to individual players. So if they deal combat damage to 3 players, then you're going to get 3 additional combat steps after this one. And this is where melee becomes just nuts, because whenever this attacks, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn for each opponent you attack this combat. So if you get 3, so basically, right, so if it attacks, right, then this combat, if you attacked 3 opponents, then this creature is going to get +1/+1 for each opponent. The next combat phase, it's going to get +1/+1 for each opponent. So if you get 3 additional combat phases, you're going to get, right, this is nuts. You're going to end up getting a +12/+12 Tifa by the end of it, which is just, yeah, ludicrous. So that's obviously if all stars align. But anyways, you can see how these work really closely together, because Cloud wants to be at least a 7 power. This also wants your creatures to be 7 power. So basically, the route we've taken this is removing some of the bloat. So there's quite a few cards in here that just either don't care about equipments or don't care about modifications, or they do it pretty poorly. Or in the case of Bonder's Enclave, there's just some cards that you just don't need in this deck. So one of the things we're cutting is a land. It is Bonder's Enclave. So what this deck does quite well is there's a few cards that basically allow you to fetch up lands. And so there's quite a bit of ramp in this deck. So you actually don't need, I think it's 38 out of the box or 37. You actually don't need that many lands. So I'm cutting Bonder's Enclave. Right, guys, I am going to get through this fairly quickly because, yeah, otherwise you'll be sat here for an hour. I'm cutting Barrett, but Wallace because basically it's quite basic. So new attack, it deals damage equal to the number of equipped creatures you control. Largely, we just want to get a few creatures out. We're not going that wide, so it doesn't really matter. Kate Sith. This one's quite cool, but not in this deck. So it's 3 in a red. Cat Moogle, at the beginning of combat on your turn, scry 1, then exile the top card of your library. You may play this card this turn. Then you exile the card this way. Target creature you control get plus X plus 0 until the end of turn, where X is that card's mana value. So this would go well with Tifa because obviously, you know, at the beginning of combat on your turn. So if you have extra combat steps, then you're going to be able to repeat that. But yeah, just for me, it doesn't really care about equipment enough. So that's coming out. Vincent. So Vincent's okay, doesn't care about equipment. It does care when it's at 7 power that it will just ping its damage to each other opponent. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fit the theme enough. Helitrooper. I quite like this card, but again, not in this deck. So it's a 1 and a white. Whenever this creature attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until the end of turn. And equip creature abilities you activate that target this creature cost 2 less to activate. It's very limiting. I want to put something in this deck that reduces it across all of my creatures. I don't really want to just target this one. It's a flyer. I'd rather get something on the battlefield that's a bit better. So that's going to go. Heidegger. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but this is a 3 and a white. It's a 3/3 at the beginning of combat on your turn. Target creature you control gets plus X plus 0 till the end of turn, where X is the number of soldiers you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of white 1/1 soldiers equal to the number of opponents who control more creatures than you. Again, it's one of those things. We're not going ultra wide with this deck. There was a sub-theme of tokens in this deck, like creature tokens. I've just completely removed that because that's not what this wants to do. This wants big creatures, and it wants you to be able to just stack equipment onto your creatures. Both of them want at least 1 or 2 huge creatures that are going to deal combat damage. And so, yeah, I've taken out all of the token synergy kind of stuff in here, really. Hellkite Tyrant is an absolute banger, but not for this deck. You can pause these and read these if you like. I'm not going to read through all of them because, again, it's one of those things that would take for hours. Avalanche of Sector 7, sorry. This is a cool card, but again, not for this deck. This cares about your opponent's artifacts. I don't care about my opponent's artifacts. I've got shit tons of artifacts over here. So yeah, that one's getting left out. Livestream's Blessing. So it's good card draw. You can foretell it. But at the same time, I want more reliable turn after turn card draw. So that one's coming out. Decimate, destroy target artifact, target creature, target enchantment, and target land. You have to have a target for each part of this card, otherwise it becomes invalid. And so it actually shot one of my pals in my play group the other day in the foot because he didn't realize that you had to have a valid target for each of these, otherwise it becomes invalid. So I don't like that, and I also don't like blowing up people's lands. So for me, this is going to go. Harmonize, a very basic card draw, single time effect for 4 mana. We can do better than that. Ultimate Magic Meteor, 5 and a red. Ultimate Magic deals 7 damage to each creature. If this spell is cast from exile, for each opponent choose an artifact or land that player controls. Destroy the target chosen permanence. So the thing for me is there's quite a few board wipes in here, and there's quite a bit of removal. And so additional removal isn't really necessary. I'd rather have spot removal, which this deck does quite well in. And yeah. Secret Rendezvous. You and target player each draw 3 cards. Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't want other people drawing cards. I want myself to draw cards. Vandal Blast. Destroy a target artifact you don't control, or you can overload it. Great card, just not one for this deck. Furious Rise. So this is an interesting one, right? I'm going to show you something that I put it's a solid upgrade on this. Like literally in every way possible, the card that I put in here is a solid upgrade. And when I get to that point, I'll pull it out and I'll show you kind of the comparison. But Furious Rise is 2 colorless and a red enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until you exile another card with this enchantment. There's no maze in here. You have to exile the top card of your library, so you wouldn't be able to choose to keep it in exile. It's just not very good. And so anyways, let's get rid of that. Summon Kujata. So this is a 5 and a red, trample haste 7/5er. I was on the fence about this one because I do quite like the fact that it's got some built-in removal, but for 6 mana, it's quite heavy. But yeah, anyways, so the first saga chapter gives you is it deals 3 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. And then the second one is up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn. And then the last is discard a card, then draw 2 cards. And you discard a card this way. This creature deals damage equal to that card's mana value to each opponent. So it's good, but again, I want to get rid of all of the things that I don't feel are immediately synergizing with these. Yes, it's power 7, but it's a saga. It's not really synergizing with either of these. And so, yeah, getting rid of it. Soldier military program cares about white soldier creature tokens. It does put +1/+1 counters on each of up to 2 soldiers you control. Cloud is a soldier. Tifa is not. I don't like to play things in a deck where, to be honest, I like to be able to switch between my commanders. And in this instance, I would only be able to really rely on that if I've got Cloud out. And so for me, Soldier's going. And then I've got 3 artifacts that I'm taking out. So if I'm getting rid of the tokens, then Skull Clamp's got to go because it's not going to do any work for me. It's not going to kill off any small things. I want to get big things out. And so it's basically going to sit there the whole game and not do anything. And yeah, so that one's going to go. The next one is Hero's Blade. So it gets 3/2. Whenever a legendary creature you control enters, you may attach it to it. It's not the worst thing in the world. To be honest, it's quite, yeah. See, when I talk myself into these sorts of things, I look at it and I think, it's actually not too bad. Yeah, I think this one's got to go. So I think there's better ones, and you'll see in a moment what I'm talking about. That one's going to go. And then the last one is Hero's Heirloom. So it's 2 colorless to come down. A quick creature gets +2/+1. As long as it's legendary, it has trample and haste. Again, not the worst in the world, but definitely not the best. So if I put these over here, I don't know if they'll be in shot of the camera. Sorry guys, by the way, I am losing my voice. And so I apologize if I am sounding like I am losing my voice because that is the reality right now. Okay, all right. So hopefully you can see these if you want to have a look at the, can you see that? No, that's off screen. There you go, I'll put these over here. There you go. If you wanted to screen grab these and have a look, then you can do. So, okay, so you can see what we're trying to do. We've gotten rid of some card selection pieces. So what we want to do is we want to replace it with some card draw, and we want to be able to go heavy into the equipment / artifact theme to replace some of the artifacts that we've taken out. So first things first, the addition of Aowen, Lady of Rohan. So it's a 2 colorless and a white. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gains your choice of first strike or vigilance until the end of turn. If that creature is equipped, it gains both of them instead. And equipped creature, abilities you activate cost 1 less to activate. Just a good card all round. And we're going to have a lot of equipment, so it's going to be doing some good stuff. I've got lots of Lord of the Rings coming in here, so I apologize in advance. Frodo, Determined Hero. Whenever Frodo enters the battlefield or attacks, you may attach target equipment you control with mana value 2 or 3 to Frodo. As long as it's your turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt to Frodo. Just a good card. I mean, 2 mana comes down nice and easy. You can start kind of getting your equipment onto him nice and easy as well. And on your turn, he's basically indestructible. So yeah, he's pretty good in this deck actually. The next one is Danitha Capuchin Paragon, 2 colorless and a white, human knight. First strike, vigilance, lifelink. I love all of those abilities, right? So if you stick on any equipment onto Danitha, it's gonna do bits. So it's a 2/2, and equipment and aura spells you cast cost 1 less. So where Eowyn is equip abilities, this is when you cast the spells that are auras and equipment spells. Just good all around again. All right, next one is Danitha. So I think it's the same person, maybe? I don't know. Danitha New Benalia's Light. It's a 1 and a green and a white. Legendary creature, human knight, 2/2. Vigilance, trample, lifelink. Again, great keywords. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an aura or equipment spell from your graveyard. Just absolutely excellent. People are going to be removing your shit. So yeah, that makes them easy to come back. The next one is Merry Esquire of Rohan. So this is Boros. So it's a 2/2, halfling knight. Haste, has first strike as long as it's equipped, which is always good. And whenever you attack with Merry and another legendary creature, draw a card. Just banging. Most creatures in this deck are legendary, so you're gonna get benefit out of it every time. All right, I've got an Italian card. I don't speak Italian, but I picked this one up cheaply because of it being in said Italian language. It is Eros, God of Victory, I think it's called. So it's 2 and a Boros. It's 7/4, so it hits this 7 immediately. It's got indestructible. It essentially gives all of your attacking creatures menace and all of your attacking creatures indestructible. That's essentially what this does. And it says something along the lines of, if your devotion to white or red is less than 7, then it's not a creature. So just a good card. If you pick it up in English and you speak English, well, if you speak Italian, then banging, you can just pick up one of those. If you speak English, then even better. So this was the card I alluded to earlier when I said that there's an objectively just better card in this deck. And I think this card is a little bit slept on because of the set that it was released in. So if I just take this out, just put this over here. So the card that I was saying is pretty crap is Furious Rise. So just a reminder, you don't have a May clause on here. You have to control a creature with 4 or greater. And until your next turn, you basically can play it. But then as soon as you exile your next card, it's going to be gone. So the objectively better one is Count on Luck. Costs the same amount, so it's 3 mana to cast it. It's an enchantment as well. And it says, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Literally no power 4 or greater, no other clauses, just genuinely a better card, and it gives you card advantage. All right, so getting through this. Annie Joins Up is just an auto include. Insane. We've taken out a bit of removal, so this adds a little bit back in, but it gives just some mental abilities. So it's 1 and a white, green, and red. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. If a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Let me just say something quick. These are both triggered abilities. This one's a triggered ability, so whenever 1 or more deals combat damage, untap all creatures. This is also a triggered ability. When Cloud attacks, draw a card. So you're going to be doubling up on all of these abilities, which are just absolutely nuts. So yeah, Annie Joins Up, a very, very good card for this deck. The next one is Karmic Justice. So when we're playing all of these artifacts, they're going to get targeted, especially the ones that give Cloud or Tifa or one of your other creatures indestructible. They're going to be targeted. Karmic Justice is banging because it says whenever a spell or ability you control destroys a non-creature permanent you control, you may destroy a target permanent that opponent controls. Insane. It's going to do a lot for your deck. It's going to basically mean that people won't target your stuff as much. Just a very, very good card all round. Okay, and now we get into artifacts / buffs that are just gonna take this deck to a new level. So the first artifact is Mirrorworks. Mirrorworks is an artifact. It's not an equipment. The only edition, no, there's another edition that's two. There's another 2 editions that aren't equipment. So this is Mirrorworks, 5 colorless. Whenever a non-token artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. If you do, put a token that's a copy of that artifact onto the battlefield. Dude, that is crazy, right? We're playing so many artifacts. You're gonna just be able to copy them up, equip both of them. You're just gonna be doing some serious business. So yeah, Mirrorworks, very, very good. The next one is the Might Stone and the Weak Stone. So 5 colorless, quite expensive again, legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. You can either draw 2 cards, target creature gets -5/-5, and then you can just tap it for 2 colorless mana. This can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. It doesn't say that you can't spend it to activate abilities of artifacts, so you can equip using that colorless. And so it's just a good card all round. It's got a bit of removal built into it, and then it's just a good card. All right, I've got one of the new Final Fantasies artifact equipment in here. So this is one of the ones that's got job select. It's 3 colorless and a green. A quick creature is a shaman in addition to its other types and has, when this creature attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If that card is an enchantment card, it enters tapped and attacking. Absolutely nuts. Obviously it cares more about the saga creatures in Final Fantasy, but it's still just a great card all round. The next one is All That Glitters, right? This is an insane card because you're gonna have lots of artifacts, you're gonna have lots of enchantments, and it's just gonna buff up your creatures. So it's 1 colorless and a white, enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. All right, we're getting through it now, guys. Down to the bottom 8. My voice should hopefully hold up. Maul of the Skyclaves, just a banger. 2 colorless and a white. When it enters, attach it to target creature you control. It gets +2/+2, has flying and first strike. Great for Cloud to get through with the damage. Gives it +2/+2. Not quite gets up to the 7 power, but you know, it's just an absolute banger, to be honest. Yeah, very affordable. I think it's like 20 cents or something. Chainsaw. Okay, this has got mad amounts of potential. So Chainsaw is from Duskmourn, 1 colorless and a red. So when it enters, it deals 3 damage to up to 1 target creature. So having equipment's come into play that's just gonna pick off some of your opponent's creatures, just gonna be nuts. Whenever 1 or more creatures die, put a rev counter on Chainsaw. So every time an opponent's creature dies, they block with a creature, or you know, you take one out with the 3 damage that you bring Chainsaw into play with, then you're just gonna get +1/+1 for every rev counter on Chainsaw. Yeah, it's just nuts. I think it's got the potential to go really, really big, and yeah, I think it's just quite a cool card, to be honest. Gimli's Axe, like a 20p card, 2 colorless and a red. A quick creature gets +3/+0, making Cloud a 7/4. As long as it's legendary, it has Menace. So a very cheap artifact just makes it so Cloud is a 7/4, and I think it's just quite a good card, to be honest with you. I don't think it's better than Hero's Blade, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, let's have a look. Yeah, it doesn't give Cloud evasion, though. That's the thing. It gives it +3/+2, but it doesn't give Cloud evasion. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Gimli. I'm going to stick with it because the equip cost is 4 on this as well. So being able to just, you know, manipulate the equipped, well, yeah, 2 is lower. I'm going to stick with Gimli's. You could use Hero's Blade, but screw it anyways. Fire Streaker, 3. So the thing here is that whenever 1 or more creatures deal combat damage to a player, double strike is double the amount of combat damage. So if you can get double strike onto one of your creatures that's got power 7 or greater, I believe, and I might be corrected, but correct me in the comment section if I'm incorrect here, but I think that because it's double strike, you'll be doing 2 lots of combat damage. And so if you get all of your creatures with, you put this on one of your creatures with double strike, then you should be able to get 2 combat damage off of dealing damage to 1 player. So two combat steps, sorry, additional combat steps from dealing damage with 1 creature on 1 player. Correct me in the comment section, guys. Is that right or is that wrong? But anyways, giving your creatures double strike is very, very good. You'll be able to, there's lots of creatures in this deck which are like, when it deals combat damage, do X. Fire Streaker with double strike will cast 2 lots of combat damage. So yeah, absolute banger. And I believe it works with Tifa. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. I've got 5 cards left, guys. Dragonfire Blade. So this is 1 from Tarkia Dragonstorm, 1 colorless to come down. A quick creature gets +2/+2 and has hexproof from monocolored. So your Swords to Plowshares, for example, it's got hexproof from. So just a bit of protection. And yeah, and also it's going to cost 1 less for each color of the creature it activates. So it will cost 3 less. So it'll only cost 1 to equip it. So very, very good card. All right, 4 cards left. Blackblade Reforged. Just really good. We've got lots of cards in here that are going to fetch up lands. So you're going to get a lot of lands onto your battlefield. So Blackblade Reforged, 2 colorless, legendary artifact equipment. Gets +1/+1 for each land you control. And it equips for only 3 because most of the creatures in this deck are legendary. This is an auto include. Thram Power Suit. So it's 2 colorless. A quick creature gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it, and Ward 2. So even with just this equipped, it's going to get +1/+1, and it's going to have Ward 2, which is protection. But every time you equip more things to it, dude, it's just such a banger of a card. Okay, on to the last 2. Quick Draw Katana is 2 colorless and it is an artifact equipment again. During your turn, a quick creature gets +2/+0 and has First Strike and Equip 2. So a pretty basic card, but First Strike is not to be understated, especially if you're going to want to be doing combat damage to people. And then Sting, the Glinting Dagger, 2 colorless, quick 2. A quick creature gets +1/+1, has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap a equipped creature. So basically, you're going to give it vigilance. And if you have any creatures in here that tap for mana, you can equip this to it. You can tap it for mana, go to combat, it untaps. You can use that again in your second main phase. Just very, very good. And I think for the cost, it's a very reliable equipment to put in the deck. All right, that is my upgrade. Very budget, very, very kind of, well, apart from Erois, but you can just ignore that one because it's in Italian and, you know, yeah. But very budget, very easy, because these cards, they're all cards which I think just didn't, they weren't meant for this deck. And so hopefully, pretty sure it's going to be an absolute fucking banger. Anyways, this is Universes Beyond. Let me know what you think of this deck tech in the comment section below. Let me know if you want to see any of the of the gameplay, because I actually am really excited to try this. I'm excited to try it with Tifa. I'm excited to try it with Cloud. I just think it's going to be an absolute banger. But yeah, anyways, that's Universes Beyond. Hope to catch you on the next one. Peace.